Hi, it's Alexis Hasselberger, time management and productivity coach. Have you ever found yourself, just telling yourself that you can't do something because you've never been good at it, you're bad at it, because it's not the kind of person you are, you're not organized, you're not, whatever it is. If you found yourself talking to yourself like this, telling yourself that you can't do something, I want to try to change that a little bit because the reality is you can learn anything, right? These are just skills. Being an organized person, it's not something necessarily innate. Anybody can learn that. Time management skills, anybody can learn that too. And so I want to share with you one of my favorite models of thinking about skills acquisition and how we actually learn skills. And this comes from, the world of psychology. And so I don't love the term so much, but I'm going to talk you through it because I think it's a really valuable way to think about how we learn new skills and how we can learn any new skill. And I am going to use an example of learning to read because I think that that's something that most people have done at this point. If you're watching this, you're probably old enough to learn how to read, have learned how to read. And so this is a skill that you have acquired and you went through this process that I'm going to show you. So at the very bottom of this pyramid here, you will see, well, actually, first let me say, we're going to be talking about the hierarchy of competence, or as it's called sometimes, the 4 stages of competence. And so when we look at this pyramid, we start on the bottom. And in this zone, it's called unconscious incompetence. And what this means is that we don't even know that we're missing a skill, right? It's not even on our radar. So if you're thinking about learning to read, this is when you're a baby, a toddler, you don't even know reading is a thing. Like it's not something that's on your radar. You're not thinking about it. Sure, people are reading you picture books, pointing to words, but you're not really, you don't know that that's reading, right? You don't know it's something you could learn to do. You're not even thinking about it. So, I mean, I never meet anybody in this area, right? Because they wouldn't reach out to me. They aren't looking for help in the area of time management, productivity, stress reduction, et cetera. But then we jump up one bar there and we get to this yellow zone. And in this zone, it is conscious incompetence. And so what this means is that we know that there's something that we're missing. We know there's a skill that we want, that we lack, but we don't know how to get there on our own. We're not, maybe we have tried, it hasn't worked, or maybe we're just reaching out for help. It's not something that we know how to do yet, but it's something we know we want to do. So thinking about, using reading as an example, think about being a preschooler. Maybe you've got an older sibling and you see them learning to read, right? You're aware that books are part of the realm and your parents are reading and your older sibling is reading and maybe you've gotten to kindergarten and they're teaching you about this skill called reading and it exists, you want it, but you are not quite there yet, right? You can see what other people are doing. You're aware of this skill. It's going to bring value, but you don't know how to do it yet, right? And this is where I actually meet a lot of people. People reach out to me in this zone where they need help with a skill they're trying to build, right? This makes a lot of sense. Then we bump up into this big green zone. And this green zone is actually the conscious competence. And so what this means is that, we know how to do something, right? We've learned, right? We've sat in through a class, maybe you're working with me on coaching, you've been in one of my courses, and you know how to do it, but it's still hard to do, right? It's still difficult to achieve. You haven't built the habits yet. It feels like hard work. It doesn't feel frictionless yet. And this can be kind of a frustrating place to be in. A lot of times people say, like, I know what to do. I know how to do it. I just don't know why I'm not doing it consistently, right? And so we spend a lot of time in this zone anytime we're learning a new skill. So if you think about your reading journey, right, this is when you're learning to sound out words. This is where, you get it. You understand that there are letters and that those letters are written a certain way. And that when you look at those letters, they make certain sounds and you're trying to sound things out. You're trying to string it together, but it's not super smooth. It's not super easy. It's hard work to get there, right? And this takes a long time. When we're learning to read, it might take us a year or two to reach fluency there. Then we jump up into this blue apex right there. And what we see there is that we are at unconscious competence. And this is kind of the holy grail of skills acquisition. This is where, we know how to do it and we are doing it. It comes to us second nature. It's easy. It's kind of effortless. It is something that's a habit that we've built. And sort of this is where we want to get for all the skills that we're trying to build, right? So if we look back at reading, this is where you are like likely right now, right? You read words on a screen in a book. You don't think about the act of reading. You just do it. It's part of what you're doing. You're not, consciously or actively sounding out words anymore. It is very easy for you to do. It's something that you do every day. And this is where we want to get with all sorts of skills. And so when I work with people, that's the goal, is that eventually we get up to this level where, you're doing things with relative ease. Right now, sometimes it takes years and years and years for us to just be completely unconsciously competent at things, right? But within several months, within a few months, we can get to a point where we're feeling pretty good about things. Things are coming more naturally. They're not so hard anymore. Do we do it every single time? No, right? Because we're humans. But most of the time, the skills that we're trying to do, they're serving us. They're creating a kind of virtuous cycle, and they're really helping us. So I wanted to share this model of skills acquisition, this hierarchy of competence with you, even though I don't really love the terms incompetence and competence, because I think it is really helpful. Anytime you're feeling a little frustrated when you're learning a new skill, it's important to remember, like, you're in that green zone. You know what to do, you know how to do it. Just because it's hard doesn't mean it's not for you. It just means you got to keep trying, got to keep practicing, and you will get there eventually. I'm willing to bet that at some point in your learning to read journey, you also felt like, I'm just never going to be able to do this, right? It is not for me. I don't know how these other people are doing it, but like, I am never going to get there. And that wasn't true, right? You kept at it, you kept practicing, and then you got there. And that's the same thing with any other skill. These things are not, part and parcel to who you are. These are skills you can learn: time management, productivity, stress reduction. These are skills that you can learn. What is a skill that you have learned that took you a long time and that you maybe thought was never going to happen? Drop it in the comments. I would love to know. I'm sure there are many other skills that you have learned way outside the realm of the things that I talk about, and I'd love to know what it was.
Hello, it's the video editor here. Just want to quickly tell you that only 8.3% of the people that watch our videos are actually subscribed. So if you just go down a couple inches and click that subscribe button, I would appreciate it.